Wrestling to the Max Smackdown Review.
Hello and welcome to the Wrestling to the Max Smackdown Live Review for September 6th, 2016. And with me as always, Mr. Paul Leeser. And joining us as is a customary for the pre-pay-per-view Smackdowns, of course, the whole W2M crew together, Mr. Gary Vaughn.
Yeah, all for one and one for all.
All right, we got the Musketeers going on here.
Yeah, Three Musketeers could be pretty good right now. I don't have any candy bars around here.
You know what? The thing with the Three Musketeers, it makes you thirsty after you eat that much chocolate.
But you know what? Hopefully this, SmackDown Live review is pretty sweet, so I don't need the candy.
Yeah. Clearly, I've watched too much New Japan because I was just thinking of the New Japan Three Musketeers. So.
Oh.
Yes. That as well. The only problem is if then you just gotta hear us guzzling water and other things while this is going on. So maybe Three Musketeers chocolate is not the best thing right now. But
one is the advertising. So Three Musketeers, we are here for you if you want us to advertise.
Yeah, sure. We can make the commercial and everything. This show was also rather sour for a certain team after what happened to them on this show. So, you get both worlds on the SmackDown Live, which was live from Lincoln, Nebraska, in the Pinnacle Bank Arena. So. And then you could certainly tell the college town of Lincoln here. I thought it was a pretty good crowd, all things considered. But they started things out with the SmackDown Women's Championship Forum, as Daniel Bryan, of course, out there with the SmackDown Women's title. They bring out all the women. Becky Lynch gets to have sort of a little monologue. I thought it was a good little promo, just kind of talking about why all this stuff has happened to her. It's kind of come to this moment for her to win, and that she's really honored that, she was the first one out there, just like she was the first one drafted, not Nikki. And then, of course, Natalya has to come out, and everybody else comes out eventually. Bryan did announce before this that there was already a 6-woman tag happening, so we didn't have a Teddy Long moment here where we got to have somebody make a 6-person tag match.
Tag team match, please.
Yep. Just gotta live.
Were there a SmackDown gone?
Oh.
Oh man.
Miss that.
Miss those times. Holla, holla, holla. So we also have of course we have that match, which ends with Nikki winning with a TKO, and then Carmella putting Nikki in the cone of silence, to which Nikki vehemently taps out because of her neck problems. So great bit of storytelling there, and also again puts over Carmella as somebody that's got this thing with Nikki, even though when she came out for that match, you could hear a pin drop in there. No one said anything. Really sad thing for Carmella right now. She's just kind of not being received rather well at the moment. And I think that sort of does it for the women's segments on the show. So we kind of tied that together. I mean, what did you think here? Obviously promotion for the 6-pack challenge match, but I thought overall, well done.
Yeah, and that was Daniel Bryan's job, coming out here and putting over this whole women's division part, and really kind of advertising, hey, this is a big deal, this 6-pack challenge, and really just expressing that this is something that SmackDown Live is all about, and they're going to make sure that they pimp this thing hard. bringing out Becky Lynch was also another good idea. Fan favorite. Some people, probably say they don't get enough of Becky Lynch at times, and so now they finally do. She gets time on the mic, which is always positive. So I think all that ramping up makes sense. I'll be honest with you. The rest of it, bringing out, which it's needed. It needs to be done. You need to see the other people's faces in this television. But I feel like it really was at times kind of clustery, kind of silly. You just got through mentioning Carmella. She would be so much more well received if she would come out and not do the whole gimmick of whatever she does. I don't even remember. I kind of
Enzo Light
blank out whenever she. Yeah, Enzo Light. That whole spiel she gives, I honestly tune out. It's embarrassing. I literally start turning red in embarrassment when she does it, and I'm not even that emotionally involved. So saying that, I think if she would keep her mouth shut and do what she's doing to Nikki Bella, people are going to love it. There are people out there that still hate Nikki Bella. Yeah, she's not so bad, I guess, anymore. We've had a break from her, kind of like we've had a break from John Cena. So not so bad anymore, but for a long time, people hated Nikki and, of course, Brie. So I think that people would actually be putting her over and getting excited about Carmella because she's doing something not anybody's done in a while. Until she shuts her mouth, though, to be honest with you, it's any of the action she does is not going to help her. And I think kind of the same worked out for the rest of them. They had microphone problems, I think, in this segment. Just overall,
and
Becky Lynch was the highlight.
It was like a very scripted, sort of almost like a comedy segment. With you think Becky's not going to want to turn us against each other? Ha
yeah, you're right. It was just almost like if you go into a local community drama theater, that's what it's almost like. It was very underacted. I don't know what the phrase for that. Just not very well done. So besides that, really. Overacted. Yeah, there you go. Overacted, whatever. But in the long run, I just think that they did a great job highlighting this division, but the division itself didn't do itself any favors.
Paul, Gary said he turns red. Maybe we need to have Kaji Tomato go over there and hand him a tomato so you can get...
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Oh, what's that tomato made of? I'm scared.
with Kaji, you need to be scared a little bit.
Oh, man. Oof.
I don't like this. So I didn't get a chance to watch this show either. Unfortunately, folks, I had to work. And I got home maybe an hour ago, so from when we were doing this. So the opening segment sounds fine. It sounds very the same problem I have with Raw. It's very one-ended. It's all Becky, and then you have Natty say your piece because there's a few going there, and then you have Carmella and Nikki and everybody, Alexa and all of them. Just it sounds like they're standing there, Not exactly the way you want to go. I would think you would at least want everybody to say their piece and have some say into this before you get into the brawl and then whatever. And, the 6-woman tag sounds fine. It gets time at least, and it sounds like the finish was good. So there's some positives to take away. You still need to stretch out and build all these people into characters, and it's been sort of an up and down road, I think, for the women's division on SmackDown so far.
And can I say, I really enjoy everyone in this division. I really do. Even Nikki Bella is not so bad. I just, like I said, I've had a break. I can get back into maybe, caring. But it's just the way that they've gone about it. And I have my worries about that. I think if they did a little bit of tightening up on that, this would be the best division. I kind of think it is in a way. I kind of prefer this women's division, to be honest with you, at times. So we'll see what happens, but they just need to tighten things up.
Yeah, I like this division better too, personally, just because they are trying to build everybody up equally. I think there was so much hinging on Eva Marie being in that match because she was sort of the focus all these girls were dancing around while you were building them up, and with her gone, they've lost that key piece of hatred, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. We have this Mateo in the Facebook group. He says, this SmackDown had no pop. Even my wife didn't tell me to wake up. Didn't wake up and tell me to turn it down. That's how you know when the wrestling show didn't go right. Your wife didn't tell you to turn that shit off.
Oh, man.
Very
Oh,
well said,
man.
Mateo. That's true. Uh, but
Like that.
you know, I can sort of agree. It just the show itself was sort of okay. We're on the road. We're on that road to Backlash, and we'll see what happens there. But I think overall, at least everything here that they did meant a little something. You know, you had Miz get upset at Bryan and Shane, and so you know that you got that tension going on still. So then you had Dolph out there on commentary while you had Apollo Crews and Miz again. Apollo got a nice pop for that standing moonsault to the outside, and then basically Miz used a little distraction from Dolph to push him into the pole and then get that skull crushing finale to get the win. Apollo loses here again, but Miz really needed to win. Apollo's not really going anywhere. They did talk about Apollo Crews on... Dolph had this long segment at the end of Talking Smack, and they did put over Apollo Crews saying, look, man, there's somebody there that's wanting to like maul people and take people down, but he just doesn't get that. He doesn't get to show that. And he also put over Miz like big time. I mean, he talked about Miz like nothing else. I mean, he almost talked like Miz, John Cena-esque of all the things they asked Miz to do, and he does it. And, you know, nobody else does that like Miz and everything else. Just so kudos to Dolph for going over there and really putting over guys on that show. But yeah, I mean that's one thing. It's amazing that you can have Daniel Bryan come on that show and tell you about Apollo Crews' story, but you can't air that same video package we got in NXT to tell you his story. What would that take? Like 3 minutes of SmackDown? I just don't get why that's a problem. But you know.
Yeah, they're not ready, I guess, to build Apollo Crews the correct way right now, and I don't know why. Maybe it is the lack of time. Maybe they have some other things that they feel like are really needing to shine, and they just think we can build this guy later, especially now that we're just using him as filler, which he is. He's just a filler. He's there to take a spot to help put over Miz and Ziggler's match, and it is what it is. I mean, everybody's going to pay their dues. Paying your dues. I mean, he's not exactly, an old guy on this roster. He's pretty darn new still. So I'm okay with it. I'm not going to complain. Do I want Apollo Crews to do well? Heck yeah, I do. I think he's got so much talent. It's a shame, but he's still a young guy. We've got a long road with him unless, something, happens and he decides to leave. Saying all that, I mean, I just love what's going on with The Miz. And in fact, I think the brand split has helped The Miz majorly. I mean, it has created this whole buzz with The Miz. It's created a environment for him to really showcase not only his personality and the way he does things, but it's also given him a platform to stand on with that IC title. It was so lost when the brand split was not happening. When you had him on Raw and SmackDown and they were all the same thing, that IC title was just lost in the mix, never mattered. Now it gets a chance. Even though it's not showcase like they're doing some of the other things, Miz is showcasing the IC title, and it actually means something. So that's what I'm excited about. I love this whole story. I know Ziggler's not exactly the guy I want to see him facing off against, but hey, whether it's to put Ziggler in, with the IC title or if it's just another stepping stone for The Miz, I'm okay with that. Ziggler's a great worker, and he's a guy that I'm entertained by. So I'm actually kind of really enjoying this whole thing.
You can tell also that Ziggler doesn't give a crap either. He goes on commentary and he's like, man, I can't wait till I'm on Talking Smack with a live mic. Not like you guys on commentary here, they got to read all this paper in front of you.
It's true. It is very true. I love Talking Smack. Oh my God, it's so awesome.
I'm fine with this feud. I don't particularly have a terrible problem with Dolph stepping down a challenge. Like I said, I think his direction is making The Miz much more interesting than his feud with Crews did, and it's just a shame that they're not taking time to invest in Apollo, because he could be big for him, and just sort of letting him flounder here, especially in the early time when you have so many eyes still on SmackDown. just letting him flounder out there is probably doing him more harm than good.
Yeah, and also too is that I thought Daniel Bryan did a great job in his little backstage segment of actually making the match with Dolph sort of mean something, because not only is Dolph once again doing the whole like coward thing, because there's a part where obviously Dolph gets in the ring and he has the sort of the IC title captive where Miz can't come in there, so he sends Maurice after the title so he doesn't have to go in there and fight with Dolph. Which is also good because you don't have to have them get their hands on each other. Just sort of let that simmer for the pay-per-view. But Bryan is like, well, you know, you're bringing up the point that Dolph didn't deserve a shot at the title, but when Dolph wanted to fight you, you walked away. So what does that make you? And Miz just didn't have anything to say. So I thought they've used this well with Bryan and Miz to sort of set up why this match sort of means something, instead of have it be the way it is where it just seems like, oh, we're putting Dolph in this slot because we can't have Bryan.
Agree. And you know, you mentioned Maurice. I think that they've also kind of mixed her in this a little bit to really do some, you know, more help and get some more heat into this whole thing. And I just love the way they did that tonight when they, you know, had her go in there and grab the IC belt and put it around her shoulder. I love that. I thought that was kind of cool. Basically saying, hey, I'm a teammate here. This is my husband, and this is our, in a way, it's like this is our title, which I kind of thought was cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you talked about having time to shine. They certainly gave the two finals matches for the tag tournament, or the two semifinal matches for the tag tournament, some time to shine here, as the Usos got to cut several promos. One of them sort of before the match. You got a video package for American Alpha. They were giving American Alpha props, and the match ends in about a minute. American Alpha beat them. The Usos snap, and they crush Chad Gable's leg, and then you get Jimmy splashing, I don't know if it's Jimmy or Jay, splashing the other leg. So basically, I think both his legs are sort of crushed. And then Shane McMahon has to go on Talking Smack and announce that Chad Gable's out anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. So there will be no American Alpha in the final. And so now you're going to have Hype Bros and the Usos at Backlash to determine who faces Heath Slater and Rhino, as Heath Slater and Rhino wound up beating the Hype Bros. Hype Bros actually I thought looked good. They looked pretty strong at the beginning. Heath Slater did his normal, okay, well I got to sort of get through here. And then the crowd actually was chanting for Rhino to come in and do the gore. And they win, so... and the Usos did a really good job it wasn't Talking Smack, but they were at the podium and they talked about how they were just tired of waiting around to get respect from the fans, so they're going to go take it. And now they're heels, and we've sort of been seeing this simmering for a while, but how do you feel that they pulled it off? Do you like it?
I think they did an excellent job here. I love the way they kind of built this. You know, like you said, you know, they were talking about American Alpha, were giving them much respect, and then once they lose in a short fashion, it just, from there, they realized that, you know, it's time for things to change, and they changed them. They became heels, and they did it in a great fashion. I mean, they look great doing it, too, to be honest with you. You know, for a long time, people thought, you know, there's no way the Usos can look like real heels. I mean, come on, they're smiley, you know, they're those cool Samoans that people love. But now, I mean, I think, you know, just like in their blood, they can be serious heels, and I really was in very much a belief that these guys are dangerous. I really felt that way, and they kind of showcased it by injuring Gable, and I just thought it was very well done. This also shows me that, man, if only Roman Reigns could do the same thing, I think I'd buy a Roman Reigns t-shirt if, he became a heel like this, because they showcased that you can do it and do it well, and I think Roman Reigns can do the same thing. Won't happen, but, you know, there you go.
I wonder if this is any kind of prelude to that. Paul, you think there's anything to this? You had the family turn, and maybe that means they're not scared to turn Roman?
Maybe. It's two different situations. The Usos have been stale for a lot longer than Roman has. And WWE, I still think, is very intent on trying to get Roman over as a face. The Usos needed this in a bad way, a real bad way, and it sounds like it came off great. And I really like the decision they're going with, because now you have American Alpha ready to challenge whenever they come back from injury, whether it's real or not, doesn't matter. And you can have them play upset to the Slater story. And hello, heel heat.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's the way they go? They do the upset?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, and then they're out long enough where you could have a little bit of a story between Slater and Rhino, and then you have the Usos kind of put them away. And then that kind of leaves that door open for American Alpha to come back, and you got your title challenge already for No Mercy.
Yeah, exactly. And you said about the High Bros. I do want to touch on those guys. They're doing very well. I really enjoyed their part in this match, and that we were talking about earlier. And of course, I love the fact that this tag team division, despite the fact that some people may not like all the tag teams, I think they're good. It's just kind of like the women's division. I'm honestly interested in most of the tag teams on this show. I really am, and I don't know. I'm not saying anything bad about Raw, but I mean, for some reason, I'm kind of more invested in them.
Well, I think you're invested because they're fighting for something, right? Like, it's not just, you got more of them involved. You sort of have now you have a reason to sort of care about what the Usos are doing because they're heels. Heath Slater has been the best part about SmackDown for weeks, and Rhino's sort of been tagging along and been funny and doing his job as far as being the muscle in the ring. And American Alpha are great as always, and Hype Bros have been improving. And I mean, you got the other two teams that are kind of just what they are, but you've got a strong division there, whereas the tag division on Raw is just kind of like, well, whatever New Day and stupid Gallows Anderson segment they're doing this week, that's your tag team.
Right.
Yeah. I do want to say one thing before we get out of the tag teams. Rhino definitely deserves some saltine crackers. So I think that next time the fans are out there, they need to offer him some. I would love to see saltine signs with Rhino's name on them.
I would pay for that. So what did you think of the Slater family out there? They got all the gingers. I'm sure you were ecstatic about that.
It was pretty awesome, I can't lie. I did enjoy that. That was fun. But that's the whole Heath Slater gimmick, and it's a blast. I mean, yeah, it's funny to say, and I don't know. I hate Paul to say that it's kind of cartoony, and it kind of is in a way, because that's definitely not my favorite time in wrestling when they were the cartoon show. But I will say, it seems to me Heath Slater, this whole family thing is awesome to me. I love every minute of it. Kind of the same over there in Impact when I like to talk about Broken Matt Hardy. It's one of my favorite parts of wrestling. So it's silly, it's goofy, but man, it's fun.
As somebody who was a big fan of the cartoony WWF back in the day, I'm all about anything that's just sort of cheesy fun. And I think Slater is just right there, and him and all the the pictures that they have of him and the fake wife and all the 7 kids in there is just, it's perfect.
Oh, man, it's a Partridge Family.
They need to have they have Chrissy knows best. They need to have Slater knows best.
See, I would watch that.
I would watch it too.
Me too, man. We should pitch this.
They need to have it on
coming
the
to a WWE network near you.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be a great show.
It definitely needs to be happening because, could you imagine?
Uncle Rhino's babysitting tonight. Next episode.
Who ate all the dang saltine?
Yeah.
I'm gonna gore anybody and find out who did it too.
Oh my God, it would be so amazing. Gotta love it.
Oh, man. So, I mean, there's your tag team situation. We went over the women's situation. What else is... we got the main event situation still going as well, but I think...
got the Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton
the
stuff.
IC title. I mean, Kurt Hawkins got some more facts, so there's that as well. It's just, man, he's gonna. I'm gonna laugh my butt. We're gonna see him next week. So.
I hope he has a, the whole Chuck Norris beard thing going on. I would love it.
Oh, and Kane came and chokeslammed Fandango after he watched this woman with a bunch of tattoos dance.
Yeah, that was awkward.
It was awkward.
Yeah.
Very, very.
I felt like I was in a bar somewhere watching that. And it just, yeah. But anyway, at the end of the day, Kane gets to choke slam somebody. Yay! So.
Wyatt and Orton have dueling promos on each other. Orton tells a story about the snake that ate the rabbit. And Wyatt talks about that he'll be the only man standing with pieces of meat left around because he is the eater of worlds. I mean, I don't know, Bray. I don't know about the pieces of meat that you're eating. That's certainly.
My only question is tricep meat.
That's the tricep.
Only if it comes from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man, yeah. Really, Bray Wyatt did a fine job here. Like always, nothing super spectacular. Just did what he does best, and plays that creepy role. Same with really honestly Randy Orton.
Stuff that goes over people's heads.
Yeah, he does. I do like the flesh in his teeth thing, though. I kind of thought that was a good line, and I kind of think that that's something that is very descriptive, and it's just Bray Wyatt. I love it. But at the end of the day, both these guys did a pretty okay promo. Nothing spectacular, though. We've honestly seen these kind of things from both guys.
You guys at all excited for their match at Backlash?
We know who's winning.
Yeah, I'm not excited because of that.
They still haven't acknowledged that on screen, so I think it's still open.
I hope you're right.
I don't think they're going to, though. How are we going to see it?
Exactly. So why bring it up? And it's still open. It could still be a no contest. It could still go to Bray. I mean, I wouldn't sell the boat short just because Randy has a house show match against Brock. That'll sell no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just kind of see, they really have not ever been afraid to put Bray Wyatt down, to make him take a step back, or to have him to be the guy that just takes the pinfall just because they can. I'm just waiting for that run. I'm waiting for it when Bray Wyatt's actually getting to beat guys on a consistent basis, and I don't think that's here. Not against a guy like Randy Orton, but I hope I'm wrong. I'll take a no contest.
Yeah, that would be great. Better than having him just outright lose like he always does. But I don't feel like I need to hold my breath for that too much. And then your final thing here is, of course, they've been building up to the AJ and Dean kind of like final face-off segment. AJ is upset the whole night that various people have footage of AJ getting crotched from last night and people thinking it was funny. And he continuously asks, do you think this is funny? And he grabs a stagehand and says he's going to break his headset and get him fired because that costs a lot of money. And then he also gets mad about it during the promo as well when Ambrose brings it up. And Ambrose, of course, has his moment where he's getting hairspray put in his hair and he's trying to tell the makeup lady, hey, you're putting a little too much over here, too much over here. Well, he also kind of acts like he doesn't care. Just, Dean Ambrose. And also just drinking somebody's coffee, realizing it's too black and putting like a gazillion tons of sugar and then handing it back to the guy.
Oh, man. I was thinking, did he actually take a swig of that? And I'm thinking, no, he couldn't have. Because if he did, he would be, that would hurt.
He certainly looked more alive in this promo. Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe. You never know. That could be the case, but man.
I did like the imagery here with the trophy, and then sort of using the John Cena armband as his trophy, and then Dean sort of kind of rubbing it in Styles' face that he's beaten Styles before, and Styles saying, well, you're not any kind of John Cena, and then Dean having the burn of the whole night where he says, well, when I drill your head into the mat, you'll be the face that comes in second place. And the whole crowd just lit up with, as if we're just watching these two in a schoolyard go at it. And that's what it felt like, honestly. Just, I really liked it. I liked the way they did this. And AJ sort of made Ambrose have to get serious by the end, which is good, because when you get Ambrose serious, he's so much better than when he's being comedian Ambrose. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match. It's also because you don't know who's going to win. That's what's very. I mean, you could have inklings either way, which I think is what makes this great. Is literally, I think both guys have a shot here.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And they cut a pretty good promo here, leading into the big pay-per-view. And I actually like both guys and what they're doing here, the behind-the-scenes stuff, and of course everything else that's involved. So I mean, it's going to be hard for me not to like this match. I already know that, but it's just a decent feud. This is nothing that I've said that is going to be just top-notch or anything, but I kind of like the direction. I've kind of felt like there have been other parts of the show on SmackDown that have been a little bit more interesting at times, a little bit more brighter, but this is still cool, and I'm enjoying it, and I think the match will not disappoint.
I think the match is going to be great. My only problem is WWE needs to stop having the club feud over testicles. It's over. It's done. It's played out. It's over, guys. Let it go.
So they just don't have grapefruits. That's the problem. Yeah.
It's Vince subtly trying to show what they don't have.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, when you don't let them show it, I mean, ta-da!
True. That is true. The one thing I will say about this whole thing is that, Dean Ambrose has been a good champion, but it really makes you wonder what direction they're going, because a good champion is fine, but he, to me, in my personal opinion, hasn't been a great champion. And I think right now, the way it has worked, it's a short-term thing. He hasn't had the opportunity to become that great champion. But on the other hand, his personality may not lead to that being the case, because he's a very nonchalant guy. It's who he is. He's a very, I don't know, just very, I guess nonchalant's the perfect term. So I kind of think that maybe that personality level not being high and extreme and nuts kind of leads us in a different path. And I think when you got an AJ Styles who, if he does become champion, we're going to see a bigger and more, outgoing champion. So I'm really kind of curious how that's going to work out and what they're going to do and what direction they want to go in.
I think, I've said a bunch on here, but AJ Styles is going to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion before the year's over. It's just a matter of when. If you do it here, you can have Dean sort of snap a little and go out there on the edge, because now he's got to get the title back. But, I mean, I think Sean was right a couple weeks ago. He'll have the rematch with Dean if he wins, and then it's Super Randy after that. And he can run through whoever else on the way to Cena coming back.
Yep, I could definitely enjoy that if that does happen.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, we're not going to do the preview here Thursday. On the Thursday W2M episode, we'll get to the previewing Backlash. But, I mean, this card looks pretty good. All the matches matter, that's always a plus. when all the matches
Mhm.
matter. And then I think you could easily say, well, you got the Baron Corbin Kane match that they haven't added officially yet. Ugh. Can't they just have a pre-show? You could stick that on there. Oh wait, we still have to cover it. Damn it. But I could see them adding something with like Apollo and somebody just to give him a match, maybe just to round it out to 8, and there you got your 3 hours. But I'm sort of excited for this. Again, all the matches matter, and we'll get to crown some champions.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
So there we go, Gary. We got to rate this thing.
All right. This was not a terrible episode of SmackDown at all. It had some points. We had some. I'll be honest. We had quite a few talking segments here, which kind of makes sense. Leading into a big pay-per-view, you want to, do a little bit more talking than action because you don't want to give away anything. So I enjoyed some of these segments. They weren't always great. They're about average. And then I look at some of the matches. We had some decent matches, but nothing that just blows you out of the water. So saying all that, I'm going to go with 7. I think this is very average, nothing bad, but also nothing special.
Yeah, I would say like 6.5. You don't have any good wrestling per se, but the wrestling's fine. Just I think the talking segments actually did a lot for what you're doing here. A lot of story told here, and a lot of build up to Backlash, which that's good because sometimes you kind of just get these stale go home shows, right? Like you just get these shows that they're not really going anywhere. We know what's happening there. They really decided to add some extra. If you didn't care before, you care now. To a lot of these, and I can always appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, I know Paul hasn't had the opportunity to watch it, but what's cool is we're all going to get a chance to actually break this thing down on our episode 211 part 1 coming up. So people need to go check that out if you want to hear us actually give our predictions, right, Paul?
That will be on 211 part 2. But,
yep, it's Thursday.
Was it part 2?
Yes.
I forget. See, we missed an episode. We haven't done part 1 yet, technically. Shh, don't tell anybody. So I got a little lost there. But yeah, you're right. Part 2. That'll be Thursday live on Spreaker.com, Friday on the download.
Yeah, plus that part 2 is going to have that Decay versus Hardy's thing. So you don't want to miss that either.
Ooh.
Decay or deleted!
And Season 3 Lucha. Season 3 Lucha Underground. That's so much good stuff.
And of course, that CWC semifinal matches and some more NXT.
Yeah. So plenty of stuff to sink our teeth
and
into for that one.
You got to tell
what?
Definitely, and Sean, and the one way that they can get this stuff, and simply find it by one click. They just go to the W2M network, click subscribe, and guess what? They get all those shows. So it'll be a lot of fun. They should go check them out.
Yeah, you get not only those shows, you get. I mean, technically, you get all these shows. You just subscribe to the Wrestling Max thing, just to be honest with people. But if you want to listen to other things that aren't just us talking about wrestling, you can hear, Harry and Patrick, who you hear on the pay-per-views, do their thing. You guys get to hear them talk about like their favorite wrestlers and favorite shows and other. They did a whole 2.5 hours of basically you get to know them. So definitely worth checking out. I think all the shows have had a podcast here except for Randall. He needed to take a week off, but everybody else has had a show. We debut a new football podcast, Football 5. And in the coming days, we will have now 2 big announcements that we get to make. So, hopefully by the time we're talking to you again on the Thursday show, we'll get to break all that down. And let's hope this all goes according to plan because it was supposed to be by now, but we'll see. All right, so that does it for everything here for our SmackDown review. Of course, don't forget that we have our W2M Part 1 of episode 211. We'll be talking about quite a bit of news that's sort of hit here since, that big wrestling weekend. And, we got some ROH to talk about as well. So, still things for you to check out.
So I guess the only thing for everybody to remember is if you're not living life to the max.
Not living life at all.
You know it.
Please.
Later.